Alright guys, so we're back and we're discussing the types of infographics. So infographics come in various forms. They are categorized based on purpose, types of object used, and the flow of information. Note that an infographic will not always strictly fall into a specific category. Actually, most infographics will have elements of multiple types of infographics. So the type of infographics that will be most appropriate in a given situation will depend on the objective of the data visualization. Choose the type of infographic that avoids ambiguity and best helps the reader extract actionable information and valuable insights. So the questions are you trying to show the best and most values in a data set? Is the goal to demonstrate changes and trends over time? Are you breaking down the subject items to illustrate its various components? Do you want to see the distribution of data? Are you keen on shedding light on the relationship between various values? So remember, your audience matters too. For example, the suitability of a type of infographic can vary depending on whether the graphic is being presented to the company's board members or its middle-level managers. Board members will probably only want to see the main highlight and not go into too much technical detail. Ergo, you may want to go with a simple infographic that doesn't come across as crowded. So we'll look at the most widely used type of infographics and share examples of each. So we have the informational infographic. The information infographic is distinguished by its above average use of text when compared to other types of infographics. The graphic may be enhanced by shapes, colors, and other visual elements, but overall the emphasis is on the words. As you can see, Job Creators Network infographic discussing the topic is Are prescription drugs to blame for the rise in healthcare spending in the US? Alright, so this is pretty detailed, very word dense, very text dense, and well, informational infographic. Next infographic is the timeline infographic. The timeline infographic depicts events or actions in chronological order. They are often used to demonstrate a product's development, a historical trend, or an idea's evolution. So timeline infographics make use of icons, images, and graphic elements to put the point across. The timeline's format may be vertical, horizontal, or winding. Vertical and winding timeline infographics are usually easier to read. A horizontal timeline infographic works best in posters, presentations, and environments where space is not a constraint. So here's an example of a timeline infographic. Mahama's master keys to break agri sector free. So notice the timeline is pretty simple to follow, easy on the eyes, visuals. You can't miss it. You can't not figure out this timeline infographic. Just saying. Alright, so here's the charts infographic. Next is the charts infographic, and these infographics have charts as the centerpiece of the information visualization. So color, shapes, and icons may be added for emphasis and/or explanation. Charts work best when performing a basic comparison of items. Instances where chart infographics would be relevant include the number of students in various universities, Twitter followers, or different basketball teams, or the population in select cities. So here we go with the charts infographic. Biggest military budget as a percentage of GDP, and you notice the chart information. So horizontal, Saudi, Israel. So that's the good stuff. You could do that actually in Excel and Word, and there's another program you could do that. Oh yeah, you could do it in Excel to get a chart, and maybe you can convert it to an infographic later. So then we have the pie chart infographic. The pie chart infographic is one where the focus object is a pie chart, whereas a pie chart infographic is technically a subset of a chart infographic. We assign it a distinct category given its widespread use. Pie charts are great for showing an item's different components or how one value compares to several other values. So there we go. In 648 billion pounds, out 732 billion, and it's in the pie chart format. And you could display more values because it's circular, 360 degrees, and you could break each value into a subset into degrees. So hence more data can be put. Alright, the next infographic we'll look at is the how-to infographic, and the how-to infographic describes the steps involved in achieving a certain outcome. So examples of outcomes whose process could be portrayed using a how-to infographic include a product's manufacturer, an ISO certification, a professional qualification, or a medical procedure. The definition of this type of infographic inherently implies that each step is usually a logical consequence of preceding ones. So how to choose a lender. Here's a how-to infographic, straight to the point. And remember guys, one thing about infographics is that once the file is created, once the infographic is created, it can be shared and distributed via JPEG or PNG format, and it could be embedded on sites. I personally like to have infographics in PowerPoint format and PDF format, my bad. And I just put it on the popular document sharing website. The next infographic we look at is a process infographic. The process infographic is similar to how-to infographic. The key distinction is that a process infographic depicts decision-making processes. So process infographics are also referred to as decision trees or flowcharts. Each step is linked to the next with lines and directional arrows. Examples of situations where a process infographic may be applied include personality type determination, assembly line manufacturing, software programming, project planning, and process audit. So here we go. Process infographic. The process is simple, 1, 2, 3 steps. So this one focuses on how simple it is to retrieve tax transcripts from the IRS, then how we accomplish it. Pretty straightforward, and it's almost like what's it called? A UML, one of those rational rows type user experience and user journey, if and or, almost like visual representation of programming. So for example, number 3, IRS rejected, try again, and you go back to there, and then you go back to once you IRS approved, you number 4 and you're done. So that type of stuff. The comparison infographic is the other type of infographic, and it examines the similarities and differences between 2 or more products, locations, events, actions, ideas, or individuals. Examples of situations where this type of infographic may work include a comparison of managers versus leaders, in-sourcing versus outsourcing, or past strategy versus present strategy. The comparison infographic creates a contrast and helps identify the pros and cons of one item in the context of an alternative. The graphic will usually be split into 2 or more sections depending on the number of items being compared. Right, so we have a sidebar infographic, SEO versus PPC. What is SEO? What is PPC? Comparison side by side, different colors to highlight to give that contrast. Awesome stuff. We also, next is the number infographic, which is recognizable by the emphasis on numbers. Perhaps you want to show the various ways food is also wasted, or how a war has impacted or a given country, or the vital numbers when applying for mortgage. These examples and more can be well portrayed by a number infographic. There we go, by the numbers, 21,000 attendees and exhibitors. And you see, the real key thing about infographics is that you have the colors, that visual engagement. Sure, words can work, audio can work, but you see that audio visual engagement and the colors to highlight, to make emphasis, to emphasize certain points. It really makes a difference, and it's more engaging. People tend to share infographics more than anything. In all niches, especially the health niche, the health sector, the health niche, weight loss, fitness, that type of stuff. People love to share those type of infographics. Alright, so here we go, resume infographic. The resume infographic depicts the work experience, professional qualifications, and other credentials of an individual in a visual format. So most job ads will attract scores of applications, so a resume infographic is a creative way to set oneself apart from other applicants. Whereas a resume infographic is often prepared as a summary accompanying a standard resume, it can stand on its own, especially where the employer insists on a short CV. Job applications are sensitive, so be certain that the infographic has a level of professionalism commensurate with the job applied for. And here you see David Ingram's resume infographic. I have one of those. I'm forgetting the name of the site I used. Enhanced CV. Yep, Enhanced CV. Really good. And it helps you, gives you the template, and you can create your resume infographic with it. It's really cool. And you have the, what's it called, the QR code in the corner as well. Alright, so visual elements of infographics. So guys, I'm just focusing on the types of infographics, and that's it for now. We could go into the visual elements later, but that's it. Just wanted to touch on the types of infographics.